The Disney Princess line is one of the most recognizable brands in Disney media and beyond. From Cinderella, Snow White, Elsa, Anna, they are definitely given the royal treatment in terms of merchandise and fans. But what about the Disney heroines that may not make it under the illustrious Disney Princess banner? The ones who, though they may serve an important role in their film, still aren't part of the official princess line. Well, along with giving them some much-needed spotlight, we're also going to be ranking them from the nice and the sweet to the most noble and pure. Hey guys, I'm Brad with Wicked Binge, and this is Disney Almost Princesses, good to most good. So what qualifies as a Disney Almost Princess? Well, if we look at the official Disney Princess branding, there's exactly 13 Disney princesses, not including Merida, the Scottish Pixar princess. So any character who counts as a Disney Almost Princess either isn't a royal in their movie, or is, but Disney forgets about them. To narrow down the Disney heroines, we're only going to count them as an almost princess if they're featured in a film that is either a fairy tale or has fairy tale-esque vibes, and if they play a significant role. It'll also help if they have a relationship with the main Disney hero. Finally, we're only counting the characters who are part of the official film's canon, so no sequel characters or children of canon Disney princesses. Now, with those royal rules out of the way, let's get to our ranking. We'll be starting with the good and working our way up to the most good. First is Alice from Alice in Wonderland. Alice is known for her curiosity and daydreaming. While people like her sister may want Alice to be normal, Alice is more interested in the strange and imaginative. But what about Alice as a character? Despite wanting to escape from the dullness of modern society, she still tries to push the residents of Wonderland towards sensibility and fairness, and doesn't always understand their chaotic and nonsensical ways. Alice never really looks down on the people of Wonderland for their nature. She's always polite, but can also be honest, and defends the grounds workers that the Red Queen sends off to be executed. She can be adventurous, but can get overwhelmed. We also see Alice get exasperated with the Mad Hatter and March Hare's failed attempts at a civilized conversation, though we can't blame her for getting frustrated.
I mean my C-A-T.
Tea?
Probably the worst thing she does is when she calls the Red Queen a fat, pompous, bad-tempered old tyrant, which she's not wrong. What puts Alice this low isn't necessarily because of any black marks, but because compared to the other almost princesses, she never does anything extremely heroic or noble. She's just a nice girl with a ton of curiosity. Vanellope from Wreck-It Ralph is probably the closest almost princess to actual princess status. We all remember that scene from Ralph Breaks the Internet. This so-called princess will always be more racer than royal. Being our youngest almost princess, Vanellope can be bratty. Her introduction shows her steal a medal from Ralph to get into a race, teasing and making fun of him.
Enjoy your little tantrum, diaper baby?
It's obvious that Vanellope can be obnoxious, rude, and selfish, but when she and Ralph agree to help each other, we see more of her softer side and can understand how lonely she is. It should also be noted that Vanellope is one of the few characters in the first Wreck-It Ralph who doesn't judge him for being a bad guy, isn't afraid of him, and actually likes hanging out with him. This has an effect on Ralph, making him a better person and helping with his own feelings of loneliness. She braves the dangers of the Cybug swarm in order to save Ralph when he tries to sacrifice himself for Sugar Rush. Vanellope also has a one-track mind, no pun intended. It's her longing for excitement and willingness to go against the player that puts her game in danger in the sequel. And when she wants to be in Slaughter Race, she puts off telling Ralph because he knows how upset he would be about it. Vanellope has a lot of faults, but she's also a kid. While she has things she can work on, she has a good heart. Megara from Hercules is next. Meg is probably our most cynical almost princess. After getting her heart broken by the man she made a deal with Hades for, Meg is done with all things romantic and hopeful. That is until she meets Hercules. Though she originally blows him off, thinking that his niceness is an act, Meg soon finds herself admiring Hercules for his heroics and determination. And the more time they spend together, the more she appreciates his kindness. Due to the nature of her deal with Hades, she convinces Hercules to sneak out of training and tries to trick him into revealing his weakness to her.
No weaknesses whatsoever?
However, once she realizes the depth of her feelings for Hercules, Meg is unwilling to do anything else for Hades, not caring how it affects her. We see how much she regrets everything she's done when she sees how devastated Hercules is by the truth. And this all comes to a head when Meg sacrifices her life to save Hercules from being crushed by a pillar. While all these acts of redemption put Meg in the good category, we have to acknowledge that she is still considered to be one of the most morally gray protagonists in Disney animation. She was willing to work for a bad guy, and only cared about doing what was right when she saw how much her actions affected someone she cared about. She wasn't doing anything, but she wasn't going out of her way to do good either. She chose good when it mattered most, and that counts for something. Up next is Maid Marian from Robin Hood. While she is a relative of the villain, Prince John, it's easy to see how much more noble she is in comparison. Maid Marian is pleasant, patient, sweet, and all the other things a lady should be. She literally has a reputation for being awful nice.
Don't be afraid, you've done nothing wrong.
One of her best qualities is how kind she is towards children. She helps Skippy retrieve the arrows he accidentally shot over the walls, and is willing to play the damsel in distress in the kids' game of pretend. Her unconditional love towards Robin Hood is also a big part of her character, and though she might not have as much royal power as Prince John, she protects Robin Hood and pleads for his life when Prince John wants to execute him. Though she may not be as heroic as her boyfriend, her genuine kindness helps her shine as a Disney almost princess. Next, we have Charlotte from The Princess and the Frog. Being the complete opposite of her best friend Tiana, Lottie always dreamed of marrying a prince and becoming a princess. Because of her status, she was used to getting whatever she wanted. Thankfully, that didn't make her selfish. Although she is an airhead, Lottie is a great friend to Tiana. She gives her the money she needs to buy her restaurant, and when things go wrong at the party and she gets her outfit dirty, Charlotte tries to cheer her up and helps her into a new dress. But her biggest act of kindness is when she shows that she's willing to kiss Naveen and give up a relationship with him in order to make Tiana happy and allow Tiana to have her happily ever after. Though she may only be a one-night Mardi Gras princess, Charlotte encompasses the qualities of a Disney princess, being generous, kind, and selfless. If she does have any faults, it's that she may be a little too focused on romance and can be overzealous, but even these qualities are overshadowed by her goodness. Next, we have the latest almost princess, Mirabel. Mirabel is imperfect, weird, and quirky, but also deeply emotional and incredibly empathetic. She cares about her family more than anything and is willing to hide her own feelings of hurt and her own desires of wanting to shine bright because she doesn't want to burden her family. It's only when she sees how much pressure the rest of her family is under that she finally breaks and not only reveals her true feelings, but the truth of the situation as well. When Mirabel first notices the cracks in the magical home and learns that there's a chance their miracle could go out, Mirabel takes it upon herself to figure out what's going on. Although this is done for mostly selfless reasons, there's also a sense that Mirabel is also doing it to prove herself and show that she can be useful to her family. Because she's headstrong and determined to prove her worth, this can make Mirabel stubborn and careless. This is evident in that her attempts to learn the truth sometimes cause her to accidentally create more cracks within the house. And while we know she isn't risking the safety of her family on purpose, it is concerning that she barely puts a second thought into the risk she's taking. Regarding the friction she has with her sister Isabella, we should also note that Mirabel is judgy, dismissing Isabella's problems and feelings because it seems like she has the perfect life on the surface.
Isabella!
Thankfully, Mirabel corrects herself once she learns the truth. Ultimately, truth is what symbolizes Mirabel the best, as she's the only one willing to confront her grandmother's harmful mindset, and thus leads her family into making a change for the better. With all those flaws, she's a great Disney protagonist. Getting into our top 5, we have Jane from Tarzan. When we first meet Jane, she's clearly way over her head. Although she's eager to learn about the gorillas for scientific purposes, she isn't a natural-born jungle woman. She's a damsel for Tarzan to save and eventually fall in love with. Thankfully, Jane is much more than someone needing to be rescued. We see her try to teach Tarzan how to write and read, being patient with him as she catches him up on all the things in human society that he missed out on. She also lets Tarzan teach her some things, and shares his love of the jungle and animals. She may not have the best relationship with baboons, but she accepts Tarzan's gorilla family and is friendly towards them, even when she's scared of Kerchak. Though she rejects Tarzan's romantic gestures, she still cares for him and tries to let him down gently, and even invites him to London so they don't have to say goodbye. And in the film's climax, she and her father help Tarzan free the gorillas and fight off Clayton's men, showing how far she's come since their first meeting. Though not always the bravest or strongest, Jane's open-mindedness, passion for her field of study, kindness and respect towards animals push her up into the top half of our list. Giselle from Enchanted started out as your typical wannabe animated Disney princess. Following the pattern of Snow White, she's a simple girl in a cottage, singing to her animal friends and waiting for her prince to come sweep her away. Even when Giselle is transported to the modern-day live-action world, her sense of optimism, hope, and kindness never go away, despite all the stress she goes through. She's constantly complimenting people, even complete strangers. She doesn't try to make trouble for Robert and his daughter, though her naivety towards modern-day society is frustrating. Giselle is emotional, which can cause more problems, though again, she doesn't do this on purpose. She acts as a mother figure for Morgan, being a good listener and bringing fun into her life. Although she was willing to let Morgan use her father's emergency credit card to buy her a dress for the King and Queen's ball, which is not great. We doubt she knew what a credit card was or whether or not Morgan was allowed to use it, so we can forgive this mistake. When she starts having feelings for Robert, Giselle is willing to set her own feelings aside so Robert can be happy. And even when she stops having feelings for Prince Edward, she's polite towards him. Giselle's most heroic moment is when she, with the help of her chipmunk friend Pip, saves Robert from Queen Nerissa when Nerissa turns into a dragon. Although we can't call her the most good almost princess, Giselle earns the title of most pure. Still, there are 3 other almost princesses who we can say are more heroic. Lion King's Nala, the only full animal on our list, takes the bronze. While she may not have gotten as much screen time or attention as Simba, Nala plays an important role in her film. Like Simba, she's a spunky troublemaker as a child, eager to go on exciting adventures and willing to go along with Simba's mischievous schemes, even encouraging them. However, when she believes that her friend has died and has to live through Scar taking over, instead of running away, Nala grows and matures, so she can do her part for her struggling pride. Though she wants to catch up with Simba after she learns that he's actually alive, Nala encourages him to return to Pride Rock and take his place as king. Though harsh, her firm honesty in forcing him to consider how bad his home has become does a lot to help Simba see the error of his choice to forget the past. When Simba returns, Nala fights by his side, showing her loyalty and bravery. But what keeps her in third is that despite this loyalty, she didn't stand up for Simba when Scar claimed that Simba was the reason Mufasa died. Granted, she could have just been in shock, but given that Simba might have died, if not for Scar taunting him with the truth, it's still a fairly big oversight. And though we aren't counting sequel characters, we can still acknowledge that Nala is a wise and noble queen as well as a good mother, in both Lion King 2, Simba's Pride, and The Lion Guard. She encourages her kids and tries her best to calm Simba's overprotective nature. While Disney may not count animals in their official princess line, Nala certainly carries the same bravery, determination, and nobility as her human counterparts. In second place is Esmeralda from The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Esmeralda is a Romani performer and dancer. Due to the prejudices of the time, both Esmeralda and her people are pursued by people like Judge Claude Frollo, who believe that they are wicked and inhuman. While she knows that society as a whole may look down on her, Esmeralda never lets this cloud her judgment of others, nor does it cause her to become cruel. This comes out whenever she's interacting with Quasimodo. Seeing how he's awkward and easily frightened, Esmeralda is patient with him and encourages him to leave Frollo, trusting him with a map to the Court of Miracles if he ever wants to leave. After the crowd starts tormenting him at the Festival of Fools, Esmeralda is the only one who's willing to stop it. She takes the time to comfort Quasi before freeing him, unwilling to obey Frollo's cruel commands. Not only does she demand justice for Quasi, but for her people as well.
You mistreat this poor boy the same way you mistreat my people.
We have to admire her rebelliousness and bravery. She takes a stand and helps those less fortunate. Even in her I Want song, Esmeralda doesn't ask for anything for herself. Instead, asking that those who are less lucky than her are helped and treated fairly. She helps get Phoebus to safety when she sees how noble he is, despite their earlier arguments and him originally being on Frollo's side. She's one of the most selfless characters in the Disney canon. Add in the fact that she's unwilling to compromise her own morals, even to save her life, and you have one of the most admirable Disney heroines ever. Getting the gold medal of most good, we're ranking Kida from Atlantis, The Lost Empire. As a warrior princess, Kida is probably the most violent on our list. Though forceful and aggressive, she can still be welcoming towards visitors and kind towards innocent creatures. Though she is cautious of outsiders, she was willing to heal one when they were injured and welcomed Milo's group into her home, once she believed that they weren't going to cause harm. She cares about her kingdom, not just its safety, but its history and culture.
True, our people live, but our culture is dying.
While her father would rather preserve the history of Atlantis, Kida wants to rediscover it so that their way of life isn't lost to time. It should also be noted that while she originally befriends Milo in order to help with her cause, her friendship and eventual romance with him is still genuine. Although she isn't able to help much in the final battle, Kida is also the one who ultimately saves her kingdom by bonding with the heart of Atlantis and activating it just in time. Considering that doing this is what killed her mother, the fact that she was more than willing to sacrifice herself if it meant her kingdom and people would be safe shows just how brave she can be. Caring, strong, and heroic, with no real negative traits or bad moments. We really can't think of anyone more deserving of our top spot as an official Disney princess. Alright, that's the list. What do you think? Let us know in the comments if you agree with our ranking, and tell us which series you'd like to see next. Be sure to hit that notification bell so you don't miss new episodes of Good to Evil, featuring your favorite cartoons and video games. But most importantly, stay wicked.